There is a truth about your life, a truth so simple, yet so powerful, that most people spend years trying to discover it. You were never meant to have everything figured out. You were never meant to control every outcome. And you were never meant to walk through life without uncertainty. Sometimes, the very season you call confusion is the season where God is quietly preparing you for something greater. Think about that for a moment. Maybe you're looking at your life right now and wondering, why am I still here? Why hasn't my situation changed? Why did God allow this door to close? Why does everyone else seem to be moving forward while I feel stuck? But what if you're not actually stuck? What if God is doing something beneath the surface that you cannot see yet? We often judge our lives by what is visible: the job, the relationship, the money, the opportunities, the achievements. But God sees something deeper. He sees your heart, your character, your faith, your purpose, and sometimes God will work on who you are before He changes where you are. That's the part nobody tells you. We want God to change our circumstances, but God often begins by changing us. Think about a seed. When you plant it in the ground, nothing seems to happen. From the outside, it looks buried, forgotten, hidden, but underneath the surface, something is happening. Roots are forming. Life is developing. Growth has already begun. Your life can be like that. There may be seasons when you feel buried, but being buried doesn't always mean you're finished. Sometimes you're being rooted. The Bible reminds us in Isaiah 43:19, "See, I am doing a new thing." Notice something important. It doesn't say you will always recognize what God is doing. It says He is doing it, even when you cannot see it, even when you don't understand it, even when the timeline doesn't make sense. God is not limited by your current circumstances. And here's another truth. Your worth was never determined by your success. The world teaches you to measure yourself by achievements, by attention, by possessions, by status, by how many people notice you. But God doesn't see you that way. Before you achieved anything, you had value. Before anyone applauded you, you had value. Before you knew your purpose, you had value. You are not valuable because of what you accomplish. You are valuable because you are God's creation. And maybe that's exactly what someone needs to hear today. You don't have to prove your worth. You don't have to become someone else. You don't have to compete with another person's journey. Your story is not late. Your life is not a mistake. And your current season is not the final chapter. Sometimes God closes a door, not because He wants to punish you, but because He knows what is waiting on the other side of obedience. Sometimes He removes something you desperately wanted, because He knows it would eventually destroy the peace He is trying to build inside you. And sometimes the answer to your prayer isn't yes. Sometimes it's wait. Sometimes it's not yet. And sometimes it's I have something better. The hardest part, trusting God when you don't have the explanation. Faith begins where certainty ends. So if you're walking through a season you don't understand, don't assume God has abandoned you. Don't confuse silence with absence. Don't confuse delay with denial. And don't confuse preparation with punishment. Maybe God is preparing you. Maybe He's strengthening your faith. Maybe He's teaching you patience. Maybe He's removing what no longer belongs in your future. And maybe the chapter you're trying so hard to escape is the very chapter God is using to transform you. So take a breath, slow down, And remember, you don't need to understand everything God is doing to trust the one who is doing it. Your story isn't over. In fact, it may just be beginning. There is another truth about your life. You will not always understand why things happen, and that's okay. Because faith was never about having every answer. Faith is about trusting God, even when the answers haven't arrived yet. Think about Joseph. He had a dream about his future, but his journey didn't immediately look like the dream. He experienced rejection. He was separated from his family. His circumstances changed in ways he never expected. If Joseph had judged God's plan by one painful chapter, he might have believed the story was over. But God was still writing. And that's something you need to remember. A difficult chapter is not the same thing as a failed story. Maybe you're looking at one chapter of your life right now and you're saying, God, why this? Why did this happen? Why did that opportunity disappear? Why did that person leave? Why am I still waiting? But you are seeing one page. God sees the entire book. That's why comparison can become so dangerous. You look at someone else's life and you compare their chapter 10 to your chapter 3. You see their success, but you don't see their private battles. You see their destination, but you don't see the road that brought them there. God never asked you to run someone else's race. He asked you to walk faithfully in yours. Galatians 6:4 teaches us to examine our own work instead of constantly comparing ourselves with others. Because your journey has a purpose that belongs specifically to you. And here's something powerful. Not every delay is a denial. Sometimes waiting is preparation. A farmer doesn't plant a seed today and demand a harvest tomorrow. There is a process. There is a season. There is growth that happens where nobody can see it. Your spiritual life can be the same. You may be praying for a breakthrough while God is building the character necessary to carry that breakthrough. You may be asking for a bigger opportunity while God is teaching you how to handle responsibility. You may be asking for a better future while God is healing the parts of your heart that would keep you from enjoying it. This is why you cannot always judge God's love by the speed of His answers. Sometimes God's greatest work is happening quietly. And maybe you've been asking the wrong question. Instead of asking, why isn't God changing my situation? Try asking, what is God trying to change in me through this situation? That question can transform everything, because suddenly the struggle becomes a lesson, the waiting becomes preparation, the disappointment becomes redirection, and the uncertainty becomes an opportunity to trust. Romans 8:28 reminds believers that God can work through all things for good for those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. That doesn't mean everything that happens is good. Some things genuinely hurt. Some losses are painful. Some seasons are incredibly difficult. But God can still bring purpose from what you never would have chosen. That's the hope. Your pain doesn't have to be the end of your story. Your mistake doesn't have to define your identity. Your past doesn't have to control your future, and your current circumstances don't have the final word. God does. So stop telling yourself, my life should have been different by now. Maybe. But maybe God's timing is teaching you something your old timeline never could. Maybe you're becoming stronger. Maybe you're becoming wiser. Maybe you're learning to depend on God instead of depending entirely on circumstances. And maybe the person you're becoming is more important than the place you're trying to reach. So keep walking. Even if the road is slow, keep praying. Even when the answer feels distant, keep trusting. Even when you cannot see the next step. Because sometimes the greatest evidence that God is working isn't what is happening around you. It's what is changing inside you. There is one final truth, and perhaps it is the most important one. Your life is not random. You may not understand your purpose yet. You may not know where the next year will take you. You may even feel like you're moving through life without a clear direction. But uncertainty about your purpose doesn't mean you don't have one. Sometimes purpose is revealed one step at a time. God doesn't always give you the entire map. Sometimes He gives you enough light for the next step. Psalm 119:105 says, "Your word is a lamp for my feet, a light on my path." Notice, a lamp for your feet, not a spotlight showing you the next 10 years, just enough light for the step in front of you. And maybe that's what you need right now. Not every answer, not the entire future, just the courage to take the next faithful step. Because your life isn't measured only by what you achieve. It's also measured by who you become and by the lives you touch along the way. Maybe your purpose is found in the way you encourage someone. Maybe it's in the kindness you show when nobody is watching. Maybe it's in the family you care for. Maybe it's in the work you do. Maybe it's in the wisdom you've gained through difficult seasons. You don't need a massive platform to have a meaningful life. You don't need millions of people to know your name. Sometimes purpose looks incredibly ordinary. A conversation, a prayer, a helping hand, a decision to forgive, a decision to keep going, a decision to trust God one more day. Never underestimate the spiritual significance of small acts of faithfulness. And here's the truth I want you to carry with you. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified because your journey looks different. God is not comparing your life to someone else's. So stop measuring your worth by someone else's timeline. Stop believing that you're late. Stop thinking your best days are already behind you. If God still has breath in your lungs, your story is still being written. There are still lessons to learn, people to love, good things to do, prayers to pray, and moments where God can use your life to make a difference. Maybe today, you need to release the pressure to have everything figured out. Give God the timeline. Give Him the unanswered questions. Give Him the doors that didn't open. Give Him the relationships that changed. Give Him the dreams that didn't happen the way you expected. And then say, God, I don't understand everything, but I trust you. That sentence may not change your circumstances overnight, but it can change the way you walk through them. Because peace doesn't always come from knowing what happens next. Sometimes peace comes from knowing who holds what happens next. So when tomorrow comes, don't wake up believing you have to control your entire future. Wake up with faith. Take the next step. Do what is right. Love people. Pray. Work faithfully. And leave the results in God's hands. Because the truth about your life is not that everything will always go according to your plan. The truth is, you don't have to walk through life alone. God can meet you in the waiting, in the uncertainty, in the disappointment, in the rebuilding, and in the breakthrough. So if you're watching this right now, and you're going through something you don't understand, take this as your reminder. Your story isn't over. The delay isn't necessarily the end. The closed door isn't necessarily rejection. The difficult season isn't necessarily wasted, and the silence isn't necessarily absence. Keep trusting, keep praying, keep moving forward, because one day you may look back at the season you're struggling through today and realize God was preparing you all along. If this message spoke to your heart, comment Amen below. Share this with someone who needs hope today. And subscribe for more faith-filled messages that help you grow stronger, trust deeper, and walk closer with God. Until next time, keep the faith, keep your heart open, and remember, God is still writing your story.